Hi there. So in this video we're going to look at uploading images and then resizing them and moving them on the canvas. So as far as the canvas, the resolution is 1024 pixels in width and 768 pixels in height. So just to keep that in mind when you're placing objects. Of course you can scale them up and down as much as you want. For those who maybe later on we'll have to place things in exact positions. There are XY coordinates, but I'll talk about that later on. So if you want to upload an image, just go under the layer menu and select the add image. So in this case I'm going to place an object that's exactly the resolution of the screen, 1024 by 768. So in this case it places it exactly in the canvas, and it fills up every pixel. If you look down here, position X and position Y they're both 0, 0. All objects are placed with the top left point of the image at 0, 0, and 0, the X axis runs horizontally, and 0 starts on the left side all the way to 1024 on the far right. As far as X, X starts at 0 up here, and it goes down height-wise to 768 at the bottom here. So if you notice, if I start dragging it out towards the bottom right, you can see the numbers increasing. If I drag it all the way to the corner here, it starts approaching the limit of the position X and Y, of the visible limit anyways. So right at the bottom tip there is 1024 by 768. So if I want to bring that back to where it was before, I can just type in the XY axis and it would be back filling the screen exactly. So before I get into the details of this edit window, I just wanted you to notice that once I placed an image, this edit window shows up, and number 1 appears on the top left here. If I close this window down, you can see the 1 is actually the image layer action. These are action layers actually, so this when I click on it, opens up to give me all the settings and the animation details. So if I want to scale this image, there are a couple of ways of doing it. As you notice, there's handles on the 4 corners of the image, the round circles. All I do is actually grab one of those handles and I could move it up and down. Or I can use this scale slider here. This is probably more convenient on oversized images where actually the handles are actually beyond the borders here, so it will be hard to actually grab those handles. So you can use this. This basically bounces back to the middle every time I scale it up here, so you can continuously scroll it up to as large as you want. Again, the coordinates here, if I want to bring it back to where I was before, I just have to realize that the 0, 0 position is where it was before, and I had an image that's 1024. So also, if you look down right here, you see a lock aspect ratio, and there's a check mark here. So by default that's checked, so that when you scale it, the height and the width is proportionate. But you might have to sometimes actually squeeze things or elongate things. If you unlock that, when you scale it, you can squeeze it widthwise or heightwise. Although if you use the slider scale, it always scales in proportion, it seems. See that. So say if I squeezed it there, and then height and the dimension, the height will actually become proportionate because I selected the lock aspect ratio. So in this case, I used an image that was exactly fitting the canvas. So I'll show you what happens when you place images that are oversized, which is what you would want to do in a when you're trying to produce a flat panel-to-panel comic. So we're going to upload a full page comic that was used for print. As you can see, this is sort of a squeezed image, but it was a full 8 by 10 proportionate comic. When I placed it, I mean, the resolution is good for actual printing, so it's about 300 dots per inch. So when I place it, the 1024 by 768 canvas is only going to zoom in on a certain section of the comic, and it would be the top left section. So in this case, it would be sort of very inconvenient to actually try and size it using the handles, because then, you know, it would be hard to see the entire image, and you'll be scrolling across the screen a lot. It's much more convenient to use this slider scale. So in this case, if you've looked at guided view comics in Comixology or other types of formats, we want to actually zoom in on the first panel, and then just keep on progressively going left to right, up and down to each subsequent panel. So what I want to do is size it so that the top and bottom of this first panel meets the top and bottom of the canvas. What I find is the best way, well, it's actually almost right there already. I would use this slider scale to get it close to where I want it to get, because it's not that precise. And then I would use the width and height. There's two arrows here that you can actually, if you click and hold on it, it will actually continuously go up or down. So it's a bit, it's almost there, but it needs to be a bit smaller. So use the down arrow, maybe click on it a little bit more, and it's right in the black area of the frame.